Hello everyone, the Chief here for the AFL Switzerland Podcast. We're here in sunny Port Melbourne, Australia with Jen Pryor, the GM, is that correct?
GM, that's
of the
right.
Port Melbourne Football Club. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast with us today.
Pleasure.
The first question we always love to ask our guests is, and it's a very typical question you get asked here in Melbourne, what football team do you follow?
Well, Port Melbourne.
Exactly. That was an easy one.
Absolutely.
For the people who are not so familiar with the AFL, with the VFL, it's a given that Port Melbourne is your team. Who is your AFL club?
Richmond.
Richmond. We have a lot of Richmond supporters at our club. Our captain Jack tries to convert the first thing he does when we get a new player is he tries to convert them into a Richmond supporter.
Good man, Jack.
The second thing he does, he tries to convert them into a Port Melbourne supporter.
Very good man, Jack. Jack's now our favourite person on the planet.
There you go, Jack. So you have to come visit Port Melbourne now. Jen, can I ask you about your family background? Did you grow up in a football family?
Not really. My family are from Port Melbourne. I didn't grow up in Port Melbourne, but it's always been we've always supported, Port Melbourne Football Club. We're just sports lovers. I just happen to have a love for football, probably more than the rest of my family. But not really any great, real affiliation.
No, sounds good. And what part of Australia did you grow up in?
Melbourne.
Melbourne?
Yep, Mooroolbark.
Mooroolbark.
Outer eastern suburbs, yes.
Okay.
But I've actually, I'm in Richmond now. I have been for probably the biggest amount of my life. So I've been living in Richmond for about 20 years.
Okay. Do you miss living out in the eastern suburbs?
No.
There
Tigerland.
you go. Tigerland. Richmond's a place to be, apparently.
Yes, especially when they win a flag.
Okay, now let's go to Port Melbourne. As we mentioned before, you're the GM of Port Melbourne. How long have you been involved with Port Melbourne, and can you tell us a little bit about your role as the general manager of the football club here?
Okay, well, I've been involved with the footy club for a number of years, and that was through, before I was at Port Melbourne, I was working at AFL Victoria. When I finished up there, the then Port Melbourne general manager sort of asked me to do a few things around, so I've done a lot of various things around the club over the years, and it's just grown from there. Then I was on the board for about 18 months, and then when the general manager left at the end of 2018, I ended up just jumping into the job of general manager for last year, and beginning of this year, obviously we're in 2020. So yeah, I've just sort of been around for forever, I think. Feels like
Fantastic.
it.
Do you have a favourite player at the club?
Oh,
now the questions get a little bit tough.
That's right. Oh gosh, not especially. There's, they're all a great bunch of guys and girls. So they all have, there's some of them I know better than others. We've obviously just coming into a new season. There's a lot of players I don't actually know yet. I've met them vaguely or not at all. So we'll get to know them as the year goes on.
Okay. Speaking of the players, are there any that you're aware of that are potential to be drafted into the AFL in the coming years?
Oh, that'd be a question for Gary, I think.
A question for Gary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Question for Gary. I'll leave that to the football department.
Okay, when we interview Gary next time.
Hopefully there's quite a few of them, but Gary will give you a better idea.
Okay. What's it like having Gary Ayres in the club?
Fantastic. He's just such a positive person. He's obviously very, very well known. He has a great playing career. What he's done for the culture of this football club has just been phenomenal. He's just great. He's a two-time premiership coach for us.
Brilliant.
The whole time, I think, in all the years that he's been our coach, we've only missed the finals once. So he's just incredible.
There you go.
He's just great.
A huge coup.
Yes,
fantastic.
Absolutely.
And as I was mentioning, we have a few tough questions. And I told you I listened to you being interviewed on 3AW, so I would like to ask, have you found the 2011 Premiership Cup yet?
We have not found the 2011 Premiership Cup.
No.
I have all but given up. I just don't know where it could be. We've looked everywhere, we've asked everyone. We actually went to the South Melbourne Police Station and asked them, and they could keep an eye out. It's just one of those things that it's, I've got to say I'm actually really annoyed about it, because I find it incredibly disrespectful to Gary and the 2011 Premiership team. They went through the season undefeated, which had never been done before by a standalone club, by a VFL club. And so it very much upsets me that we don't have that, we don't have that Premiership Cup, and you know, it just is what it is. I don't know whether it's just been put somewhere or forgotten, or someone's just decided that it was, you know, funny to take it and doesn't know how to bring it back. I think I made it very clear that there'd be no retribution if someone brought it back to the club, but it's still not here. Very disappointing.
No, definitely. And anyone watching or listening to the podcast, if you have any information about the cup, please contact Jen. We would love to have the cup back here.
Absolutely. No retribution. Just, you know, we'll turn out the lights, close our eyes, you can put it back and disappear, and we'd just be happy to get it back.
Yeah. You've very kindly given us a tour here today, and you were talking about the women's here at Port Melbourne. Could you tell us a little bit more about the women's development program here and where we're going? Have they entered the VFL women's competition yet, or what's happening there?
Not yet. This will be our third year, coming into our third year, 2020, so they're playing in the Southeastern Division 1. They narrowly missed the finals in last year. They've made the
huge effort.
The improvement from the first year to the second year has been phenomenal. So we're looking to grow that. Every year we're learning more and more, and we're trying to support them as much as we can. We've got just received funding from the federal and state government, so
fantastic.
We can upgrade our facilities for our women's change rooms, and we're hoping to have a pathway through. And who knows, one day one of the AFLW girls might be a girl from Port Melbourne, a woman from Port Melbourne. So that would be fantastic.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so we look forward to that.
Ah, great. And how important is the relationship that you have with us? It's a little bit of a long distance relationship with the Basel Football Club. How important is that to Port Melbourne?
It's really important because we're interested in the growth of the game everywhere, and we want to get our brand out there too, and it's been great having you guys here today and we like to showing off the facilities and everything, and as I said, I can't wait to take you over to the North Port Hotel so you can see the big mural we've got of our Premiership captain Toby on the wall. So it's really important for us to be able to meet and deal with you guys and invite you over here, and who knows, if you've got any players that want to come to Melbourne, and they might be good enough. Might be able to try out
potential.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe
have to hit Gary up and see if we can keep an eye out for them.
I'm super excited to go see the mural.
Yep.
But just before we head over there for lunch, on the podcast we like to play a game. It's called the How Swazi Are You? We like to bring the two cultures together, the Swiss and the Australian. I normally do this with my partner in crime, Chris, but he's not here unfortunately, so I'm gonna go through it myself. So there's some questions about Switzerland and Australia, and all the guests on this episode will get the same questions, so you'll be able to see who's the most successful. Okay, so here we go. The first one is a Swiss question. Which animal is the symbol of the capital city of Switzerland, Bern? A tough one first up.
Yeah, I don't know. This is where you get to see how much of an idiot I am.
No, that's okay. It's the bear.
Oh, okay.
So the second one will probably be easier. A mark taken by Alex Jezelenko inspired which famous phrase?
Jezelenko, you beauty.
Yes, very good. Do you know in Switzerland one of the national sports is wrestling? Okay. Do you have any idea what it could be called? No?
No, wouldn't have a clue.
It's called Schwingen. Schwingen.
No way.
Yeah. Not that type of wrestling that you're thinking of.
Okay.
But yeah, we do call it Schwingen.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Definitely. Okay, here's one I think you'll get. During the Spring Racing Carnival, what is the name of the next major event after the Melbourne Cup?
Gosh, I'm not really into spring racing.
No, Ladies' Day is called.
It's popped out of my head.
Starts with an O.
Oh, Oaks Day.
There we go. Perfect. Are you familiar with Swiss cuisine at all?
Not really.
Not really? Okay.
I'm
I will try.
miserably. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. What are the two main ingredients for the Swiss dish raclette? Raclette. Have you ever heard of raclette?
Never heard of it.
Should we do a phone a friend? We got one of the
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
from our club.
Please.
Joey. Come sit down, Joey. So,
The two ingredients.
the two
are
ingredients.
cheese and potatoes.
Oh, two of my
Perfect.
favourite things.
There you go.
They're
there you
two of the main ingredients in a lot of Swiss cuisine. to be
Beautiful.
honest.
Oh, beautiful. Know where I'm travelling to next holiday.
Joey, as you're an Australian, do you want to ask the next question, number 6?
Okay. In which state in Australia can you take a selfie with a quokka?
WA.
Perfect. There you go. On the board. You may also have this one. In which state in Switzerland is the United Nations located?
United Nations. Is it in Geneva?
Perfect. There you
Perfect.
go. She's on a
So
roll
I kind of
now.
whispered it in case I was wrong and it didn't look like an idiot.
Here's your hat trick question. And if you get this one wrong, I'm going to be a bit surprised. Who was the 2019 VFL leading goal kicker?
2019 leading goal kicker. I don't know. I'm going to say Jack Rewell. Am I wrong?
VFL.
Oh, VFL.
VFL,
Oh, VFL.
yeah.
Oh,
VFL.
it's Geordie.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
our
Yeah, yeah.
captain,
There we go.
Geordie.
Hat trick.
Sorry, I was
well
thinking
done.
AFL.
No,
No.
sorry. Okay, and no, sorry, it wasn't the last. 2 more. Well, this is a tough one. In what year were women given the right to vote in a state in Switzerland called Appenzell Innerrhoden?
In what year?
It's a little bit of a joke over there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Joey, wasn't that long ago?
Was it 1991?
It was 1991.
Really? I was going to
Yeah.
say like 1908
Yeah.
or something.
And they were
Change.
forced by the
Yeah.
federal government. They said, "Come on, guys, we're 20th century's coming up. Let's get a move on."
Change takes time over there.
Yeah.
It does.
Lucky last. One of Australia's greatest cricketers played under 19s for which AFL club?
St Kilda, be Shane Warne, is it?
There you go. Perfect. Well done.
The Mighty Saints.
Yeah, the Mighty Saints.
Yeah, well, they
Thank
go.
you so much for
Thanks,
being on the
Jason.
podcast.
No problems. Thanks, guys.
And everyone, get on board Port Melbourne as a member here in Melbourne, or as an international member. Get on their website, get involved. They're a fantastic club, and
We have
yeah,
international memberships.
perfect.
Get on
Thanks
board.
so much.
See you
Bye.
guys. Bye.